Ibulise ubaphulaphuli. Namhlanje kungolosithathu yilamini ye-Bible study. I-Bible study ke iba neBhayibhile. Kuba kaloku studishwa iBhayibhile, ngoko kuyanyanzeleka iBhayibhile ibe khona. Banzima ke xa ingekho iBhayibhile. Undimamele wena ungenanto into onokuthi ujonge kuyo ubunyani balento ndiyifundayo. Futhi nento yobhala nento yobhalela ukwenzela into yokuba ukwazi emveni kokuba ndigqibile ukuyithi reinforce in your own mind. You go over those notes whilst they are still fresh in your own mind. I think that will be of great help to anybody, because sometimes these issues are so complex and so complicated, especially if ungasingumntu uqhelene nokufunda iBhayibhile. It's not an easy book to read if you're not used to it. Masincede ke sithandaze, sicimeleke. Bawo izicelo zethu, imithandazo yethu, izililo zethu azidelekanga kuwe, futhi azinazothe kuwe. Dinwa ukuphula nezicengcelezo zethu. Kungeso sizathu ngale nhlo yanamhlanje ngaphambi kwethu inhliziyo yethu izele ngumbulelo, kukulunga nobubele nenceba nobabalo nokuzeka kwakho umkade umsindo. Sibe ngabantu abasephansi kwenceba yakho nangalomzuzu. Uzukulu lwakho imbe ubukhulu kongama. Ngale nhlwa namhlanje bukho bakho, inkokhelo yakho, intyilelo kaMoya Oyingcwele siyayidinga ebomini bethu. Sincede ke Thixo sikhokhele ngale nhlwa ngayo Yesu Kristu Nkosi yethu. Amen. Umninzi ke umuntu ofonayo nobhalayo nonezicelo endingena ukwazi ukuzisabela zonke, nangona ke ndinomdla wokuba phakathi kwezinto ezibuziweyo nezindumiso endiphethe zona kwezi veki zipheleleyo. Ebena ndiqale ngecawe, ndaqhuba ngayo ke kwakhona ngecawe, ndaqhuba apha ngolosithathu. Ngenxa yemibuzo lena imameleyo nabantu abekudala bendimamela, kuyanyanzeleka namhlanje ibekho nje into endiyicacisayo maphathelana nale ndumiso yama-23. Le ndumiso ke yenye yendawo endizishumayele kakhulu. Inoba mhlawumbi xa ndizicingela isermon endizishumayeleyo ziphaa kooma-14, 15 different approaches As a result, abantu sometimes ngenxa yoba wayendivile andivile aqiniseke uyayazi into endiza kuyithetha. Ndiske ndingathethi loo nto, ndithethe enye into ibangwa yelo xesha. Naku ke ukucebisa kwam kuleya ondicela ke undiphulaphule kakuhle ubhale. Xa uzawufunda le ndumiso 23 kuyanyanzeleka uba kukho abaprofethi ababini aba-directly linked kule ndumiso 23. uJeremaya isahluko sama-23 ivesi yaqala ize iphele kwivesi yesi-8. Emveni kukaJeremiya uyawufumana incwadi uchapter 34 usukela kuverse 1 uyokutsho kuverse 31. Unento kufuneka ke uyiqaphele xa sithetha ngabaprofethi. Something that you should take note of when we speak of the prophets, especially the major prophets. You will notice this. You can go back to the index. This is what you'll notice. We have 4 major prophets: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Daniel. Those are 4 major prophets. This is what you will notice. The books are 5. The prophets are 4. Take note of that. And please note this. Ezekiel, prophet. Umprofethi uEzekiel usekuthinjweni, he is in exile. Uprofetha ese-exile. Andaba sisiyafana. He is in exile. Lo ulandela yena uDaniel naye ngokunjalo usekuthinjweni eBhabheli. So these 2 prophets, Daniel and Ezekiel, both they are in exile. What separates the other 2 prophets, Isaiah and Jeremiah, it is this poetic prophecy, izililo zikaJeremiya. Izililo zikaJeremiah are made up of 5 poems that are relating ekutshatyalalisweni kwiJerusalem nokutshiswa kwayo tempile. Then Isaiah and Jeremiah, they are not exile, they are prophesying about Israel going to exile, especially Jeremiah. Ezekiel abe sekuthinjweni. So aba abaprofeti ekuthinjweni, aba bona ba profeta ekuthinjweni. That's very, very important for us to understand that, just for interest's sake. Now listen to this now. I said, Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 1 to 8. And Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 1 to 31. And both of those prophets, the one before exile and the one that is in exile, they are talking about the same subject. And what is the subject? Is about the shepherds. 23, 1 to 8, Jeremiah, Ezekiel 34, verse 1 to 31. Let's leave it at that one. We will come back to that. There is something that somehow we are failing to take note of when we look at Psalm 23. How we miss that, I do not know, because it is in the very first verse. Here you will notice that it is the sheep that is speaking. Igusha lena itetayo. And this sheep as a subject gladly attest exclusive loyalty and exclusive reliance on Yahweh. Inika ubungqina bokunyaniseka kwayo nokuxhome nokukholwa kwayo, and this willing abiding in this sheepfold and self-surrendering to be governed by this shepherd. This very first line stresses not the role of the shepherd, but the immense faith of the sheep. Longa wokuqala o ayinguyehova othethayo, kuthetha igusha inikezela ubungqina, it attest uyehova ngumalusi wam. That statement, it's attesting to this exclusive loyalty. It doesn't say uyehova ngumalusi. No, he has a claim. Ungowam, he is my shepherd. It's exclusive loyalty. exclusive reliance on Yahweh. And then tell why. Because those willingly abide in his sheepfold, abo bakhetha ukuzilahlela njengoqam ukuba bazinikele kulomhlambi uphantsi kolawulo lolomalusi, and surrender themselves willingly to be governed, ukuba balawulwe by him, abe negunya ebomini babo. That first line, 1a, I want to stress that, stresses not the role of the shepherd, but the immense faith of the sheep. Ile ndawo ke sonzakala kuyo thina. Tina, we want the Lord to be our shepherd, but there is no exclusive loyalty and exclusive reliance and the willing abiding in his sheepfold and surrender of ourselves to be governed by him. We want to be loose. We are non-committal. We find it difficult to exclusively be loyal and reliant and surrender of ourselves and submit to authority and to be governed by him. Because whatever is going to happen in this trip, it is preceded by this, you know, singadluli apha siphelele apha siphelele apha singadluli thina singabantu abafuna izinto zikaThixo. We want God's provision, mercy, grace, and everything that he can provide. But I still need to be autonomous. Auto itself, nomos, is law. That then you get automatic. Then auto itself, nomos is law. Then you get autonomous. We want to be law to ourselves. There is so much reluctance in surrendering our will and allow God to be God, to have authority and this exclusive loyalty and reliance to him. I felt that this is very, very important. We miss that. We are quick ukutsilela andisweli lutho, and yet we have not fulfilled the requirement that precedes that provision. Because the generous provision of Yahweh, obumvuse nobubele nale provision ka Yahweh, that there are no needs, deficits, deficiencies, as the words from the hymn Great is thy faithfulness. O God, all that I have needed, thy hand hath provided. That we want, without any strings attached. I don't think we understand that. Now. And then now, once we get in verse 1 to 3, it is very important for us that we begin to see these provisions of God. Remember what I've said. I've said it is the sheep that is speaking, and the sheep is not speaking about itself. It speaks about the relationship it has with the shepherd. And then, hence, ufumanisa into yokuba verse 2, he, it doesn't say you, he says he, which means the shepherd is in a third person, is not present in this gathering. The sheep is talking about the shepherd. The shepherd is in a third person. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet water. And let me take just those two. It's very important for you to know that the sheep feeds on only two things: grass and water. Aichi Kendaki ija ingha kunye namanzi. Once kungabikho ngca ze kungabikho manzi, there is nothing that will make that sheep to survive. And this shepherd takes it upon himself to provide that green pasture. And he leads the sheep to... Now, you ask, why does it need to be led into that? It's led into that. The sheep is covered with a garment. Noboya. Now, uboya, once the sheep gets water and it becomes heavy. As a result, is scared of running water because it's not a good swimmer. Because once the water is falling from this fountain or rock, now ikushafneki isele la manzi awe phezu kwayo, next to no time izawutipa. The upper part iwele manzini and drown and die. So what the shepherd does, he pulls the loose rocks and form ichweba nqande lamanzi angabaleki, and the sheep is comfortable with this water, and the sheep drinks, and then he is led into that quiet water. It makes sense, because what God does, he has a way of taking a situation that is turmoil and very boisterous, and God somehow bring quietness and meaning in that. Is led in water. It is the sheep, it is the shepherd who makes that water to be quiet. And then he comes to verse 3. He says, he refreshes my soul. In the original, he says, he brings back my soul or my spirit. He brings it back. He restores. He brings it back. That's the right translation. Brings it back. Because it has a tendency of going astray. And umalusike unalandonga yakhe inegwegwe. Itla gusha xa ibheka ngapha ayifake apha entanyeni ayiqhozule, and that thing is painful. Ayizise to the right track now and again. Hence ilandelwa, he guides me along the right path. Uyayitsala ayikhokhelele endleleni elungileyo, undikhaya ezindleleni zobulungisa, because igusha ine tendency yokunxaxa, yokuphuma egaleni. Umalusi ke ayithikela gwegwe, ayibuyise, ayikhokhelele endleleni zobulungisa. Ngenxa yegama likaMalusi, igusha ayinagama. Ngenxa yegama likaMalusi, there is the reputation of the shepherd. Want to lose any of his sheep, then ayibuyise la gusha lena for his name's sake. Masipele man kula verse 3 ngokwangoku. Siphele nje kula verse 3. Because 1 to 3 it is God's provision. Right? Siyeke pha ngokwangoku. Sibuye ndicela uba sibuyele kulanto bendiyithethile kuwe, ithi masiye pha kuJeremiya u23 pha kuJeremiya u23 uverse 1 to 8. Jonga, woe to the shepherds who are scattering the sheep of my pasture, declares the Lord. Therefore, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says to the shepherd who tend my people. Because you have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not bestowed care on them, I will bestow punishment on you for the evil you have done, declares the Lord. Uthixo unomsindo, uthetha naba kings. Yeah, ke abalusi abatshabalalisa bachithachithe umhlambi wedlelo lam, utsho Yehova. Ngako oko utsho Yehova uThixo waSirayeli ngabalusi abo balusa abantu bam, ukuthi niwuchithachithile umhlambi wam, nawubhebhetha anawuvelela. Yebonani, ndiya kunivelela ngenxa yobubi bentlonti zenu, utsho uYehova. Uthi aba bantu ezinkokheli ngabantu abanentlonti. Yazi umuntu onentlonti, ndiyakubutha mna amasalela omhlambi wam emazweni onke endawagxothela kuwo, ndiwabuyisele emarhewini awo aqhame. Uvile mos? Emarhewini aluhlaza, ndiwabuyisele emarhewini am aqhame ande, ndiwamisele abalusi bawaluse, angabi soyika, angaqibuki umbilini, kungabikho ulahlekayo, utsho uYehova. Uyabonani, yeza imihla uYehova endiya kummisela uDavide ihlumelo elilungileyo ongukumkani, enze yena ngengqiqo, enze okusesikweni nobulungisa ehlabathini. Esasiprofeto uverse 5, uSirayeli uhleli elinde lo malusi uYehova amthembisileyo ku-23 uverse 5. That is why uYesu xa esithi kuJohn chapter 10, ndim umalusi olungileyo, aba bantu bamva kakuhle ukuba uYesu is quoting uJeremiah chapter 23 verse 5, that he is the fulfillment of that prophecy. Mamela yo. Ungayifunda ke lanto ke uhle nayo uyophela ku verse 8 apha kuJeremiah. Sisuke phaya size apha kuEzekiel u34. Kwafika ilizwi kum lisithi, nyana womntu, profeta ngabelusi bakwaIsrayeli, profeta uthi kubo ngabalusi abo, itsho inkosi uYehova ukuthi, yake abelusi bakwaIsrayeli abaye bazalusa ngokwabo. Endeni babalusa abantu, tolusa bona. Abolusi abengafanele ukwalusa umhlambi wabo yini na? Abelusa bengamefelanga baba olusa umhlambi wabona. Amanqatha niyawadla, umoya nizembathise ngabo, ezityetyisiweyo izimvu niyazixhela, umhlambi aniwalusi, ezityhafileyo anizumelezi, ezifayo aniziphilisi, ezaphukileyo anizibophi, ezizintsali anizibuyisi, ezidakileyo anizifuni. Nizinyathela ngamandla kalukhuni, zaba lusali ngokungabi namalusi, zaba kukudla kwamarhamncwe onke asendle, zaba lusali. Umhlambi wam wadungudela ezintabeni zonke nasezindulini zonke ezinde, waba lusali umhlambi wam ebusweni bonke belizwe. Akubangakho namnye ukhathaleleyo, akwabakho namnye ufunayo. Now, before siqhubekeke nalanto, uyakuxelela so that ingqondo yakho ingaphithizeli. Kuverse 31 uthi, nina ke ningumhlambi wam, abantu ke oko, umhlambi wedlelo lam, nisisintu ndinguThixo wenu, itsho inkosi uYehova. So aba bantu bangumhlambi abantu, okumkani aba babekwe nguThixo into yokuba balusa abantu aba, but abantu aba bazinkokheli basuke bolusa bona. They look after their own needs instead of looking at the needs of uluntu. Then ke ngoku baze ezityebileyo bazixhela, bazibhathisa ngoboya, bathi ezinamanqatha ezigulayo abazinaka ezilahlekileyo zinanokwenza nabo bazichitha zaba sisisulu aba bantu banjalo and uThixo uyakhalaza u-34 lowo ukusukela pha uverse 1 to 6 mamela ke this is what ke ngoku uyotsho pha kuverse 10 uthetha about these bad shepherds athi ke ngoku kuverse masithi mhlawumbi uverse 7 mhlawumbi masikhangela uverse 7 ndifunde kweyesingesi noko so that nomnye umuntu ongomXhosa noko ave uba lento ithini. Therefore you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, because my flock lacks a shepherd, and so has been plundered, and has become food for all the wild animals, and because you flock, but cared for themselves rather than for my flock, therefore you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says: I am against the shepherd, and I will hold them accountable for my flock. I will remove them from the tending the flock, so that the shepherds can no longer feed themselves. I will rescue my flock from their mouths, and it will no longer be food for them. Abantu bafuna ukukhutshwa ngoba bayingozi bazitya igusha. For this is what the sovereign Lord says: I myself will search for my sheep and look after them as a shepherd look after his scattered flock. He is with them. So I will rescue, I will bring them back. I will bring them into their own land. I will pasture them on their mountains. I will tend them. I will search for the lost and bring them back. I will bind up the injured, but the sick and the strong I will destroy. I will shepherd the flock with justice. This thembiso eziya azenzayo. Ungakulinge ke ucinge into yokuba yabona bona omalusi abad click ivake zagusha zona bazinjani zona. Verse 17, as for you, my flock, this is what the sovereign Lord says: I will judge between one sheep and another, and between rams and goats. It is not enough for you to feed on the ground pasture. Must you also trample the rest of your pasture with your feet? Is it not enough for you to drink clear water? Must you also mud the rest with your feet? Ezigusha, they are so selfish. Zitya ugqiba kwazo ziligqushe idlelo eli ukwenzela ezinye igusha xa zifika ungekhondo xa zisela amanzi zisela pha phezulu njengoba amanzi esihla nje ezi ziweak zizikhabele ezantsi ziwagxobhe lamanzi ukwenzela uba ezi azifumana amanzi amdaka zisezantsi. Must my flock feed on what you have trampled and drink what you have murdered with your feet? Therefore, this is what the sovereign Lord says to them: See, I myself will judge between the fat sheep and the lean sheep, because you shove with flank and shoulder, batting all the weak sheep with your horns until you have driven them away. Ziyalwa zizodwa ziyahlabana zizodwa. You see, xa ungekho malusi and igusha ziyatyiwa and kukwindlala, igusha zona umhlambi lo uyalwa uyadubulana kufiwe uve ngeveke eyi-1 uve kuthiwa kudutyulwa abantu abayi-18 abaziwa badutyulwe ngubani na bayalwa balambile because aba baphezulu bayatya. Kutsho uEzekiel apha uthi ke, I will save my flock, they will no longer be plundered. I will judge between one sheep and another. I will place over them one shepherd, my servant David, and he will tend them. He will tend them and be their shepherd. I, the Lord, will be their God. My servant David will be prince among them. I, the Lord, have spoken. I will make covenant of peace with them and rid the land of savage beasts, so that they may live in the wilderness and sleep in forests in safety. Mamela uyaziva eziziprofethi osibini, uJeremiya u28 23, ukhangele uEzekiel u34, and both of them they speak of the shepherd, which are the kings, and how they are taking their responsibility in ruling the nation. And both they say the shepherd, which are the kings, have failed dismally umhlambi. They take care of their own interest. That is what these shepherds are doing. These leaders, these nation leaders. I say that hence we are hearing, even in the Zondo Commission, we are hearing the leaders how much they have looted and really taken from the poor and bazombathisa ngoboya badles namanqatha and all of that, and really squeeze, and what is happening beneath them, there is too much infight, division, and destroying of organization and values and the philosophy, and our bayalulalana. December say this is what Ezekiel is saying in 34. Does that make sense? Now, come back now to 23. In the light of that, it's an amen. Now, listen to this now. Now, listen to this shepherd. Listen to this shepherd. This good shepherd. This is a good shepherd. And David says, he is my shepherd. He makes he exclusivity of the reliance and obedience and total surrender to the authority and the rule of this shepherd. And he says, because I've done that, I lack nothing. And this is what he is doing for me. He provides. He provides for me. Doesn't provide for himself. As we have read in Ezekiel 30. As we have read in Jeremiah 23. He does not provide for himself. It's not self-enrichment, self-empowerment, self-glorification, self-exaltation. Everything is about self. It's not about that. It's not about that. He says, this is what he does. This is what he does. Iti wenza. Let me read it in English. In Xhosa, iti wenza. He says, he makes me lie down in green pastures. He searches for a beautiful spot in the green grass. And then he makes me lie. Then he leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Now listen to this now. This is the part that I like. You see, this Pentecostal, charismatic, and prosperity gospel, and everything that comes with it. This psalm is not tranquil. He speaks about this provision. Somebody who is into Pentecostal charismatic, he would find pleasure in those 3 verses. I don't know how, when he passes that, what he's going to say. Because there is a transition here. There is a transition. He doesn't say if. No, he doesn't say that. He say, even though. The reason that is, it's a very good diction, choice of words, because this reason that he says even though, because he gives you an assurance and a guarantee that that will happen. It's not maybe or it could be. There is going to be darkest valley. There is going to be hard times. There is going to be death. There is going to be sadness. There is going to be all of those things. This thing of when you accepted the Lord that nothing is going to happen, smooth sailing, glory, hallelujah, Jesus, and all of that, it's not true. Jesus says, "Nia ihlabathi lindithile, nani ngokunjalo niyakuthiwa, niyaba nembandezelo yomelelani nikhaliphe ngoba ndiloyisile ihlabathi." He gives them that, it's a promise, it's going to happen. Soze bafe, soze ungabi namali, soze uthini. Job suffered. He was good, he suffered. I can go on and on and on and on in the Bible. Now listen to this. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not against the God's provision. I've already said that in 1, 2, and 3. He does provide. Don't be fooled by that. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, there are times that we go through rough patches in life. English says, ithi nokuba ndihamba emfuleni wethunzi lokufa. Because that for sure it will happen. Andikoyika ngoba ndimele koyika. When I get into that, it doesn't matter whether ndithetha ngelwimi ndizidolike. But once I get into that, it is expected for me to be fearful. But the only thing that makes me not to be fearful, ngokuba unam wena. Look at this thing, man. Look at this beauty. Have you noticed that all the way from this, wenza ukuba undithundezela, uyawuyisa, undikhapelela, in a third person. But when it gets here, when the rubber hits the road, ngokuba unam wena, ayithi ngokuba unam yena, ubalisa ngaye, uthetha naye, ngokuba unam wena. And then now, he looks at the equipment for his protection and also for his comfort. Indonga yakho, umsimelelo wakho, uyandithuthuzela. That is for protection and also that is for comfort. Listen to this. Now listen to this. Listen to this. Chilonge kuleve pheleyo ke ndathi ubake wathetha ngokuba ndihamba emfuleni wethunzi. Once uthethe ngethunzi, the shadow. Once kubekho ishadow nje, there are two things uqinisekile ezikhoyo. Kubakho light, then kubekho object, ze kubekho isithunzi salonto. Uba inja isithunzi senja, uba kukho inja, funeka kubekho light, then kubekho inja, kubekho isithunzi senja. Noba ilight ikhona, kukho inja, akuzobakho isithunzi. But ilight ingakhona, inja ingabikho, akuzobakho isithunzi. Funeka kubekho light, then kubekho inja, and then kubekho isithunzi. Inja ke, it doesn't matter noba kuthiwa zezi ziluma kakhulu, zindlongondlongo. Isithunzi sayo asilumi sona. Ithani amen. Isithunzi senja asilumi sona. Isithunzi senja. Now. Into ayenzayo uthi noba ndihamba emfuleni wethunzi lokufa. Akahambi emfuleni wokufa uhamba emfuleni wethunzi lokufa, which means the object there is ukufa, hence ithunzi. But there is something else that is not there, that is not mentioning, that is the light. But he has mentioned the light, the fact that kukho isithunzi. Hence ke ngoku umva esithi nokuba ndihamba. In English, we look at the preposition. He says, even though I walk through, he's not walking in nor walking into, but he's walking through. It's a passage. The reason that he's walking through, because there is a light. He can see that valley is not the destiny. It is the passage to somewhere. Because he says, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now listen to this. There's something here that is very important for you to understand. In English, the shepherd, the word shepherd is a noun. In Hebrew, that word is a verb. It's an action word, which it's supposed to be reading. The Lord is shepherding me. Now, something that is being shepherded, it is something that is in the move. It is because lekusha, uyayibona mos lekusha, it guides me. Even though I walk, it's walking. And then in a destiny, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That is where he is going. That is where it's going. It's going somewhere. You cannot be shepherded if you are not going anywhere. There's no need to be shepherded. If kukabantu abangena akukho apho baya khona. Yes, abantu abangena njongo, abantu abangena mbono, akho apho aya khona. So there's no need for you for a shepherd, because you are not going anywhere. So this sheep, it has a destiny, and it's going to be hosted because initially, verse 1, the Lord is the shepherd. But once you get into verse 5, the shepherd has changed now in being a shepherd. But what the shepherd has become now? What has the shepherd become? Shepherd ngoku into eyiyo ngoku generous host. Kwimeko apho ngoku uyibona ngoku lo malusi generous, right? Generous. Kolona hlobo lungathethekiyo uthi apha, you prepare a table before me. Did you understand? And this is ixesha lonke ibiyigusha, but yakuxelela, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Enemies, you need to understand this. Ukuthi la gusha njoba surroundwe yimithi, they are pests. Ihoho ezilapha emthini, uba ngaba waye emakhaya ufike igusha le inezilonda nalapha ezindleleni, ufika sometimes izifaka nasemthini yahawuzelela because eza hoho ziyayitsha. Unendawo ke apho ke kweza tools zakhe apho ekuxelele, you anoint my head with oil. Uthathi oil ayiqale apha enhloko, and the oil, it repels. Iyanuka la oil ezahoho zingakwazi ukusondela kule gusha. Alilungise idlelo eli, itye la gusha in the presence of the enemies. The enemies are hanging on the tree. There is no way of them coming closer to the sheep because of the oil that repels them. And then he says, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Let me explain this thing about the cup, because unyuka umqhoko njoba ilanga litshona nje unyuka ke lo mqhoko intaba lena guguba intaba uthi xa ufika pha phezulu ufike pha kukho amaqula big stones as if zenziwe ngabantu ngathi zicups. Ufike ke ngoku akhe equleni amanzi, because igusha inawusele equleni, agalele phaya kulamatye ade lamatye abe overflow ngamanzi, kuthiwe my cup overflows, isele igusha, because igusha ayizokwazi uyosela equleni. So it's the responsibility of the shepherd to bring water from the well and throw it in these big stones. Then the cup overflows. It has been provided. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That's my destiny. That's where I am going. And the Lord, all the way, He will take me through that. He will be my provider. He will be my host. He will be my protector. He will be my comforter. Things will happen. Things will happen. I'll get to a stage whereby I'm faced with rough, patches in life, but I take heart because the Lord is my shepherd. This shepherd lives for me. It's here to protect me for His name's sake, because His name and His character integrity is at stake. That's the problem that we have here currently now in the history of our country, because the character, the integrity of the leadership is under question. It's under question. You see, I said in that 34, it's very important for us from verse 2 to 6 that it is the failure of kings in Jerusalem to exercise the protective care of a shepherd that has produced the exile in Israel, given the failure of the monarchy. Because ngenxa yokufailisha kwemonarchy kokumkani aba bantu baphelela ekuthinjweni, and God is holding them responsible as the leaders ukuba aba bantu baphelele kwesi state bakuso, because okumkani never take care of these people. Instead, bazolusa bona, bazi-empowerisha bona, bazi-enricha bona, batya ezityebileyo, bazembathisa ngoboya. And that is what Ezekiel is saying. And and then God says, I will be their shepherd. I will feed them with justice. That is 34, Ezekiel verse 11, verse 15 to 16. And Jesus says, Ndim umalusi olungileyo. Uzibiza ngamagama simlandele. Ziyamazi umalusi. Ubomi baso busesandleni sakhe. Uthi ubomi bam ndiyabuncama ngenxa yezimvu zam. Ndinegunya lokuba ndibubeke phansi ndiphinde ndibe negunya lobuthatha. He does everything to protect umhlambi wakhe. That's what this psalm is all about. 23. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. Jeremiah 23, 1 to 8. Ezekiel chapter 34, from verse 1 to 31. This sheep is not good sheep itself. It has its own problems, but the shepherd is good. The sheep is not good flock. Ziyalwa, ziyaqhusha idlelo eli, ziyawangcolisa ezinye zingaseli. They are very selfish. Ezistrong ziyazitshala eziweak, ziyazingquba, zihlabe nangempondo. Yonke loo nto ibangwa yindlala, and yonke loo nto ibangwa yi-lack of leadership, kungabikho kwesikhokelo, kufeyishe the monarchy. Eli lilizwi likaThixo. Unoyolo livayo alicine aze amenze. Uzuko lwakho, imbeko yeyakho, indili yeyakho. nguThixo ngusomandla egameni lenkosi yethu Yesu Kristu. Amen.